And there's a place that I've dreamed of, where I can free my mind. I hear the sounds of the season and lose all sense of time. Feels like we're in a dream, you know what I mean.
Right there, Camp McIntosh.
It sure is. And September 22nd to the 27th, we would love to see you folks up there and join us for our 5th annual CFN retreat. Make sure to get a hold of Andre and Tracy. We made a post today for Monster Monday. If you want to know any details when it comes to cost, price, what is included, if you can bring your own boat, what it costs if you bring your own boat, everything is there. But if you do have any questions, there's the website, that's the email, and that is the phone number. Andre and Tracy are awaiting your call. And I also have big news when it comes to Horwood. Unfortunately, and I say this unfortunately, even though it's fortunate that we have an opening, it's unfortunate why. But as everybody may know, and if you don't know, Ugly Boys Bait are leaving us. They are no longer going to reside in Ontario. They are moving to Saskatchewan. And there are 2 beds that are available. I don't know what cabin it is. I think it might be 2 or 3. But there are 2 beds that have come available. And if you are interested, it's the only 2 beds that are available. So by all means, reach out to Warren and Doris. They are awaiting your call. That's a toll-free number. Of course, the email as well. And follow along. Of course, Richard does a lot of promotion, but CFN does a lot of promotion when it comes to the retreats that have been going on up there. And I'll tell you, we are getting close to our 10th anniversary up at Horwood. We'd love to see you up there. We'd love to share in the fun, the fishing, and, of course, the incredible food. Those are 2 of the events that are happening, but they're happening a little bit later in the year. Lots is happening going forward and starting very, very soon. So, folks, if you're starting to see a lot of events showing up, be patient. Congratulations to Shane Richard coming 8th in the Perch Festival this past weekend. Good job, Shane. Congrats on that. He was in first after the first day, and he was really excited. But I'll tell you, coming in 8th with all those anglers, not too shabby. But, of course, CFN has a bunch of events that we are either affiliated with, have a big hand in, and one of which, of course, is the Conquer All Challenge, sponsored by Shimano and the new Compre line. Really excited about this. This is going to start May long weekend. So if you are someone that loves your panfish, and we have all the species listed that will be available all across Canada. Angler's Atlas will be the app. It is not uploaded just yet. Mike is working with the owners. We just got the image, so we'll be uploading that so folks can start registering. But stay tuned because this will be just like the CFN Fish Off. It'll be geared towards panfish because the new Compre line is geared towards a smaller size of fish. an incredible line of products that Shimano has made available to our community. So this is going to be epic. So really stay tuned because there's more to come. And of course, Danny and I, including the Conquer Challenge, we will be talking about the NCAA Weekend Series. This is strictly walleye. And Danny has done a marvelous job putting this together. I know a lot of it sort of models what we've done with the fish off. But what I like about this is it is geared towards strictly walleye. It is a catch photo release tournament. It's weekend based, so you're going to have 4 qualifying weekends for then a championship. So again, a lot of this will be explained by Danny on Wednesday on the Power Hour, but this is really cool. And the best part about it is it's not going to be isolated to certain zones. I do believe Danny's going to be opening up to most of the province. So stay tuned, find out, as I said, based on what is open in your area. Obviously, some zones will still be closed. But yeah, join us on Wednesday at 8 o'clock. We will discuss more of this on the Power Hour. But it is extremely exciting stuff, exciting news. And we are going to do our very, very best to make sure all of you CFNers have an opportunity not only to get out fishing, but to win a prize doing it. That's what it's all about. Is that Richard? I think that's Shane Richard right there. How you doing, Shane? If it is, congrats again. There's James. How you doing? Tony's in the house. Attaboy. Nice to see you back. Steven's here. How you doing, Steven? Richard, again, thanks for all your sharing, pal. Can't thank you enough. Mark, you're really going to be interested in the Conquer Challenge. I know that, but also the NCAA, because I do believe that your zone will be included. So yeah, lots going on. Steve, tonight I want everybody to pay attention. We are going to pay our respects. We're going to pay homage. We're going to honor Steve again. We have a special video that we're going to share just to get the juices going. In fact, as incredible as that video is, my son shared me one this afternoon. We're going to definitely be sharing that next Monday too, because if you think this video is good that we're going to be sharing later tonight, holy smokes, the one that comes next week is unbelievable. But Steve, stay tuned to that, because of course we can't do what we do here at CFN without that man right there. So a big shout out to my good buddy Steve. Lloyd, as always, my friend, likewise. The one thing I said to Bruce from Ugly Boys Baits is, you know, if you had picked another province to go to, I might have put up a little bit of a fuss. But you're going to Saskatchewan. And if there's any province the CFN has really got a foothold outside of Ontario, it's Saskatchewan. You SAS folks have done a fantastic job pumping our tires. So you are going to a very welcoming province, and I can't think of a better province to go to with the Lloyds and the Walters. I mean, there's just so many of you out there that we just can't thank you enough. Rob's, I mean, there's a bunch that really pump our tires out in Saskatchewan. So I'm hoping, and I know you guys will welcome the Ugly Boys Baits family in like one of your own. Really, really cool stuff. Joe, how you doing, buddy? Nice to see you. This is another gentleman. Jerry, thanks so much for coming to our community. You too are doing some incredible sharing, and we can't thank you enough for that. Keep up the great work, pal. As I said, it's all about spreading positivity and getting folks fishing. So again, thanks so much for all you do. Terry, nice to have you with us as always, my friend. George is in the house. Good evening from Sudbury. Snow is almost, the ice is melting. I was going to ask George, how much ice do you still have out on the lake? Or is it just near the shorelines? Is it blowing around, or is it still solid? Because I was amazed to hear how much ice is still up in northern Ontario, roughly around the Timmins area. Remarkable to hear that ice fishing is still going on. Advanced Taxidermy, all rise. Holy smokes, it is an honor to have Advanced Taxidermy. And we are going to be actually doing a CFN feature tomorrow about Advanced Taxidermy, because you have done some recent work for a gentleman who caught, I believe, a brook trout, and it was a personal best brook trout. There's probably a little bit more to the story than I'm telling, but stay tuned to that for tomorrow. It's a beautiful rendition of this gentleman's incredible catch. So again, Thanks to James for being here. We really appreciate you being along. Pete's in the house. How you doing, Pete? Jim's here as well. Eve, you're another one that does a lot of great sharing. Can't thank you enough for that. Brad Norris from POW Casting. Nice to have you along as well. Jeff's in the house. How you doing, Jeff? Always a pleasure to have you, my friend. Pat's here. Pat, we're going to be sharing the video again to the one and only. I'm not sure if he even saw it, so we're going to ask him his take on that. Might be a few tears shared. Who knows? We'll see. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Larry's in the house. There he is, the one and only Bruce. Yes, you. Yes, you. Shore to shore, solid, but getting dark so soon. That's awesome. Fantastic. And 3 weeks to Fishapalooza. Paul, again, has done some fantastic work, especially involving the kayak community. All spots, I believe, are filled now, Paul. I don't believe there's any available spots that are open. This is a great opportunity just to fish with some great anglers that don't necessarily get all the limelight, but are good sticks. Great little competitive atmosphere that goes along with it, but it's a lot of fun. And as I said, Paul is doing some fantastic work building this. So, yeah, awesome to see. Is it Robert's birthday? Jeff, if you don't see him or talk to him, because I know I probably won't, but happy birthday to Rob from Dynamite Baits. Love to have you guys along. You guys are a fantastic pair. All right. Without further ado, I think it's time to bring on the big man. And let's find out what Jim has to say tonight, because we do have lots to talk about, especially about his new addition to Just Fishing.
When he was born, he tried to reel in the umbilical cord. Bass named him as their personal best. His power pole came with a stripper. Forward-facing sonar uses him to find fish. Chuck Norris is his co-angler. He is the most interesting fisherman in the world. Stay fishing, my friends.
Amen to that. There he is, the man, the myth, the legend. It is an honor to have you here, Jim, as we do every Monday. Oh, yes, sir. That is a top shelf individual. Never mind how beautiful the hat looks on that flow of yours, but that is a top.
I didn't get it cut.
You can't. You're gonna get it cut?
Yeah.
What are you running out on bucktail? Are you running low on bucktail?
Get it down to a 2.
No, don't you dare.
I want to look like Scotty Martin.
Don't you dare, buddy. I want to look like Jim. I just can't grow it. I just figured you were running low on bucktail and you needed some
I just got my bucktails in for the year.
Oh, okay, good.
So I was a choice of paying for the bucktails or the mortgage. So we got hair.
I shouldn't laugh. Wow. Well,
I've been hard on it here. I got almost 500 done up here for Saturday at BJ's.
They got a sale going on this weekend?
Yeah, this weekend's that's their annual sale. I go every weekend, tie jigs. Already got the seat and the table in the car there, or in the truck.
Right on.
Got the truck all spiffed up this morning at the car wash. Look good. Be ready for some new decals.
Beautiful. Wow. Knock on wood. Let's hope you get that call and everything goes.
I got one done, though. I think I told you.
The official spokesman of BKK. Heard it here first.
Also the best looking.
Well, of course, I didn't have to say that. I mean, we all know that. Absolutely. So, Jim, the new issue is out of Just Fishing.
Yes, sir.
And one thing that I really love and enjoy, of course, is the editor himself. You put this in every issue, and we just love it. Depending on where you are located geographically, you might be looking to sneak the boat out, or perhaps you are still drilling holes and shoveling snow. It's so true, Jim. What a vast contrast there is when it comes to where we're at down here in Southern Ontario to where they're at still up in the north. And
when you got 3,500 miles.
Yeah. Incredible. Absolutely.
I'm talking to our buddy up in Yellowknife there, Ryan. and he's guiding. He's drilling holes through 4 feet of ice. You know what I mean?
Jeez,
It's still got snow on top of the ice, which means it's a long way to go then.
it sure is.
Yeah, he said it'll be well like the end of May, probably.
And we really shouldn't be that surprised because Jim, this is what we would consider, and you know, I can say this. I may not be your vintage, but I can say this. This is what we experienced back in the day. This is a normal winter.
Yeah, and I mean up there, I mean it wasn't as cold as it usually is.
Yeah,
You know, they had some individual like yikes cold days, you know.
yeah.
But it's it's what it is. It's things change. Like I've often said to people, just remember where the tar sands are used to be a lush forest. It was 110 degrees and humid.
Absolutely.
That's why all the
So
oil's there. And,
So
and, and as our buddy there, Mr. Global would say, it's that when they taught us that it was dinosaur bones that made oil. No, it wasn't dinosaur bones. It was it was all the plants and flora and fauna and stuff, as they would say, together. But it was mostly plants. Yeah.
it's
They
funny you
told us
say
that-
that. You know, it's really funny you say that because that's the misconception. But at the end of the day, it is the compression of carbon and basically waste that has decayed and has created this thick black substance that we now call black gold. And it is certainly black gold right now. I mean, the markets will tell you that. It's literally out of control. I was
Isn't that
talking to
crazy
someone
what's going on, eh?
he was down in Georgia, and the price of diesel now, mind you, it's per gallon, $5 a gallon for diesel.
Hey,
Oh,
when I went, I traveled. Where did I go last week? Wednesday, I was out. I'll be okay. And I was coming back on a 401. I may have mentioned this too. I've mentioned it to several people because it really hit my mind. So the 401 now out away from the cities is 110. So for me, 150 and 120, I'm happy at that. So, but with these guys now, you got to watch because there's still guys driving 95 now that it's 110, which means they're driving 140. You got to really keep your eyes open. So I'm driving along and I'm saying to myself, why am I having to pass so often? And it's all the transport trucks doing 100
yeah,
because they're paying for their fuel.
it's
They
so
got
true.
fuel.
No,
You know?
it's so true. And you know, we were doing the math just roughly because I said, you know, we got to be getting close. And I understand there's what is it, 3.5 liters per gallon or whatever it is. But if you do, you know, if you do the exchange rate and you add it up, it's starting to get somewhat close. And I would never in a million years would have thought that our gas.
Well, what
would
is
be
it
up
where you are now?
$1.70, $1.80.
Yeah, you're a little bit. It's been a low 60s here, pretty consistent in the area. I think Ottawa's a touch higher, like 170, 172. But I mean, a few years ago, it was, it was up at 150, 160, and
Yeah.
because there wasn't a war connected to it,
Yeah.
you know, everybody just went and filled up their gas tank, you know.
100%.
But I'll tell you, this morning I put gas in this morning again down there, and I went to find the cheapest gas that was down there, which one it was, and it was my Canadian Tire one still. And I went there, and I couldn't believe it. I mean, the tank was still at a quarter, and it still
That
cost
right?
me $100 on the button with a few extra squeezes on the nozzle. You know, so.
Yeah.
But
it's
part of that gas is going to be used to go to Ottawa tomorrow morning to get new Yokohama tires for the summer on. The tires came in. So
You like your yokes. You are a yoke man.
I like them. I like them a lot. I got to go to Tubman's first thing. I got a free oil change there, so I got to go get that done. Got to leave here at 5:30, Phil. So, and I'll get up there, get the oil change done, and I figure I got about 25 minutes after the oil change to get over to Goldwing to get the tires done.
Jeez.
I'll scoot
Joe's saying it's
across the city yet.
169 in Orangeville, 155. Yeah. 161.9. Wow. That's the part I can't get over is how expensive diesel is.
Well, he explained about diesel now, the way it is, why it's like that. It's all the stuff that they got to do and add and take out, and I see it.
100%.
the guy's name again? His tag. Is it Mr. Global?
Mr. Global. Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody that wants to really find out. It was so funny. This guy had a guy call him out and say, "What gives you the right to come on here and talk about gas and oil? You know, there's people in the world that do this for a living," not knowing the guy's background. So he Googles himself for oil and gas world exports or world experts. He comes up fourth. He Googles himself for oil and gas and geology expert.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh, that's better. I was third." And I just thought to myself, you just need to this guy's talking about oil. He's the guy you need.
100%.
When you told me you listened to him when I sent that to you,
Yep.
I'm not kidding. I was out here in the dark because I came to lock the back door, and I was on my knees at the back door here with your picture on the door, the back of it. All hail the Martin.
Well, again, being in the industry, you know, I do have to bite my tongue every once in a while because I am obviously exposed to information that, you know, just doesn't get out into the real world. And
well, your name was fifth.
Oh, stop it! No, I don't even talk about it. I actually rather not talk about it. To be quite honest with you, but listening to him speak, especially about the oil gas, when he starts going on about data centers and all this other stuff, I check out. He knows way more about any of that than I'll ever know. But when he talks about the gas industry, it is so interesting, and I always get a smirk and a smile because he's bang on with everything he says. He is so bang on.
Yep.
How it's manufactured, how it's shipped, how it, you know, when they were talking about liquid natural gas not being flammable.
Wasn't that a good one?
Oh, that was a hoot. Listening to that was just.
You ever see those trucks come down from 100 feet in the air when they go?
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I do, if you do want to know about the oil and gas industry, Mr. Global is a wealth of information, and he's one individual that is on social media that you can truly trust to give you what's actually going on. It's not fabricated. It ain't fake. Yeah.
He backs it up and he knows. Yeah.
He really does. Speaking of somebody that knows, in your latest article, of course, is your favorite Brian Rosedale, and he speaks about your favorite fish. So I was interested to get your take on some of the stuff that he basically said. And he states in the article that not all lakes are the same. Some lack muddy areas, bays, or crooked mouths, but may have weed beds, shoreline depressions, or inside edges of bulrushes. Obviously, king grass, rock, and a whole bunch of others. So basically, bluegill, there's no specific structure that they prefer. They just go where structure is. Is that correct, Jim?
Like any fish, yeah. They'll use whatever's available. You know, it's I've often said so many things like this to people about different lakes. The way you get a lake that has a lot of largemouths in it, and it's got all those black bottom bays, you know, where you see the lily pads and everything's that heats up so quick in the spring. Like the back of my little bay here, it's only about 30 yards across. I've seen that melted open water because it's black on the bottom. And there's still 25 inches of ice off the end of the seawall. Like you could jump out on the ice and cast into the open water because of the black. And guess what's in there? There's fish already there because there's no current to disturb the water. So once it's warm, until the ice floats back and forth, I guess that cools it up a bit. But when it melts out like that, and there's just so many things that, like, water temperature early in the year is so important. It's so important early in the year. I know I don't think 2% of the people pay attention to water temperature. Like a lot of the guys in the Great Lakes do. They've learned that now, that they used to wonder how these guys were catching fish. Well, they followed, you know, and that's where everybody learned about thermal plumes and water and all this other stuff out there that goes on. And that's why you're driving along in a boat and you're watching the water temperature and it's 58 and you troll 400 yards and you look down and it's 68. You go, what the heck? How did that change? You know, and that's what it is. The water moving and everything and following it. No different when you fish for bluegills and things like that. Like I was explaining to a guy here on the phone this afternoon. He said to me, I went to my lake, he said, and I went to all the spots I usually go to, and he says I didn't catch any crappies. And I said, really? Because today was last calm here. It was 25.
Yep.
I thought today would be a day. But, when I look back, I said to him, I said, didn't you have a few days where you were up there a while ago and it was like 20 degrees and sunny? He said, yeah. I said, that's the days you should have been out there, because it would have been the first time after the ice is gone when they come in and scrounge around. I was sitting down here this morning. I don't know whether you saw the little thing I posted in the waterfront.
Yeah.
I was just sitting there saying, like, why do I go to Gann and look at the St. Lawrence when I can have that in my backyard? And I'm sitting there and I'm looking out there, and all of a sudden the water just erupted like about halfway to the boat docks. And there was largemouths chasing golden shiners. And I haven't seen the golden shiners here in a couple of years because I just haven't hit them. They're only here for a few days and they're gone. It's a temperature thing.
Yeah.
They come in just like the crappies do early and they feed. And then a lot of them drop back. They're not in those same places. So they're sitting there and they won't do anything, that type of stuff. When you fish for crappies and bluegills for 10 minutes and you don't get one, you may as well go to the Dairy Queen. You know what I mean? Or come back at 3:00 in the afternoon when the sun's beat down for a while and watch it. I was like, these fish down here this morning were definitely largemouths. They were probably 4-pound plus fish. They were heavy duty. You could see them just turning in the water, chasing them, and the water just flying. So I wish I could record it. It's just so cool to watch.
That is
it.
cool.
Like Mother Nature just doing her thing,
But she's good at it. She's really good at it.
Oh yeah. No, but
I have to ask though, Jim, when it comes to bluegill, because I don't know that species as well as you do. Are they coming into warmer water to feed first, spawn later?
Feed. Oh yeah, no, they're not even thinking about spawning. Like when the guys all caught the crappies a week and a half ago, that's not spawning fish. That's the ones they wake up and go, the water got warm.
Wow.
Let's go eat. And then the first time you have a couple of calm sunny days, they all get together, shake hands, and go, see you in a week. Someone say Dairy Queen.
I know you've really started something with the Dairy Queen.
I used to like when they used to have the cone, you get it dipped in the chocolate. I don't know if they still have that.
Yes. Oh yeah.
I haven't been to Dairy Queen for years. Yeah.
That's amazing. So he basically, Brian goes on about the how important temperature is, and of course when water temps hit that 40s, that's when things really start to get going. And then of course, ideally you're looking between 50 and 60. And that could be any range of depths, right? Like anywhere from 2 feet all the way down to say 12, 15. Would they go that deep?
And that would be a little later for the water to warm up that much down there. Like this time of the year here now, it's early. They come in. I saw some guys from Wisconsin and Minnesota that I know posting pictures the other day of bluegills that were like, 9, close to 10 inches long, like catching several. And a lot of people thought they caught a 10-inch bluegill. Put it on a sheet, 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper and tell me you caught a 10-inch bluegill. I've never caught a 10-inch bluegill. I've caught 11.5, 12-inch pumpkin seeds, but I have never caught a 10-inch bluegill. I've had some that were like, some that I actually measured because I thought they were going to get there from the little lake I had over here. The one where I've had everybody there. Takasaki's been there, HT guys, Tom Grunwald and all those guys. Izumi's been there, Dave Gens, Bob Izumi. Everybody's been to this little lake. And it never fished the same after the first year. And we never kept fish out of it.
Wow.
They were untouched. They hadn't been bothered. Although it's right beside the provincial park.
Right.
They had never been bothered. Yeah, just like Jason said. It's so important to know. Well, quite often you'll see them. That's why I used to get confused before I knew about this. I'd see a bluegill on a bed and go, oh my God, I can't believe how big the bed that this little fish made. Well, because he's in the middle of an old bass bed.
Right.
And that was when I learned that they were. What's really interesting too is if you go out and you're fishing, don't pay attention to the temperature. I know you probably won't anyway, but go out. You catch you see a bunch of bluegills and pumpkin seeds and you catch a few. That's when you check the water and you go, oh, it's 53 degrees. You know what I'm saying? And then you go somewhere else and you fish through. Oh, geez, they should be here. It looks good. Check the temperature. 47. Oh, that's why they're not here. It's looking like hindsight, looking back, realizing it. And I did that myself often to learn. And it's, back in the beginning. And this was back in the beginning before you had the internet to learn. If you wanted to learn something, well, you had to go out and experience it. If you knew that
you guys were the ones, you were the ones that were teaching us, and we will get to that later. But you were the folks that we went to the Sportsman Show, Spring Fishing and Boat Show to ask these questions, or at least bounce. This is what I saw out there. What's your take on this? And really, I feel as if this is what we do every Monday, because I don't have near the wealth of information that any of the three of you have. And it's great to be able to ask questions and learn, because bluegill is not something that I know a lot about, and I'm learning a ton tonight just by
you could definitely target them like any other fish, and the more things you put in your favor, the better you get at. Like I've probably said this to you before, when we used to do the Sportsman Show seminars, we'd get done and we'd ask questions. They'd be sitting looking at you, and they'd be talking amongst themselves. One guy would put up his hand and say, "What's your favorite lake? What's your favorite color?" After you just explain to them what to do to go catch fish. And that's the kind of questions. Now they ask questions and I got to think about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The average angler now is way better than he was.
True.
It's just,
and we're seeing it. Like, I mean, the one thing that we have the luxury of is the number of photos.
We just mentioned about this. That it went away. There was a question there about sunfish around docks or something.
Yes, when I see sunfish around docks is when I know the water temperature is good for swimming.
Yeah, because the heat transfers from the dock into the water, so it warms it up faster. If they're hanging out there, there's a good chance it's warmer. Yeah, I saw a couple of kids swimming off the dock in town today, and then one kid,
did they lose a bet?
He's one of those kids. He's about 10, and he weighs like 31 pounds. You know what I'm saying? Like hasn't even began to fill out yet, as a boy, a man, eh? And he's running down the dock and he's got his arms, and the kid's like this. And he puts on his shirt and he runs up the street. I know where he lives up here. He lives up where the stop sign is.
I hate to say this, Jim, but if he keeps jumping in water that cold, he's never going to fill out as a man. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You know what I'm saying? But speaking about water temperature, something that really caught my attention in the magazine, and I know, salmon fishing isn't something you can claim to know a lot of, and nor can I, but this technology, and we've heard about this. I know Brad and I have talked about it as well, but Scotty's come out with a new way to monitor water temps as you're trolling. It's actually extremely incredible to see the level of technology that we've gotten to. And if you know salmon fishing, you know how important temperature is. So take a listen to this technology, because if you haven't heard about it, you're probably going to want to know more. This is really something.
It's Adam here from the Fishy Business TV show in New Zealand. Well, anyone that knows me knows I love to fish with my Scotty downrigger. I use it to catch kingfish and snapper, tuna and marlin, and trout in freshwater. It's an absolute fishing weapon. Now, Scotty have teamed up with Airmar, the guys that make transducers, to produce the Seeker probe. So what's the Seeker probe? The Seeker probe is an attachment that you put just above your downrigger ball, which transmits some critical fishing data back to your fish finder or to your phone via a black box. What data can you get off of it? It gives you accurate speed at the downrigger ball, water temperature, and depth. All of these things are vitally critical when you're doing any sort of downrigger fishing. A few examples would be when you want to keep your downrigger weight up off the bottom, you've got to know exactly what depth your weight is at. And water temperature, if you're fishing in any sort of thermocline, you need to know the temperature that your downrigger weight is at, not the surface temperature, so you can put your lure or bait in the right spot. And speed can be essential when you're trolling with lures. If you get the right speed, because your boat speed might be different than the speed of your downrigger, and if you want to get those strikes, sometimes you've got to go a little faster or a little slower to make that lure work perfectly. The Seeker probe is transmitting data that's vital to help you catch more fish.
And this was just an ad in your magazine. And I thought I know a little bit about this. I didn't realize there was a video link that is in there as well. And this is incredible technology.
Well, almost all the ads now have a thing you can just click on, and
Yeah.
it'll take you to the.
I was intrigued by that. For anybody who loves salmon fishing, this is a must-have, because we all know how popular the fish hawk was, and probably still is to a certain degree when
Yeah,
it
you
first
still
came
see
out.
them around. I know some guys that
Yep.
have them.
Yeah. And now this technology that you can get on your device, that's incredible. So,
Well, I watched the thing, and there's a guy, I think he's in Utah or something, where they troll a lot for big lake trout in a lot of the lakes there. And he has a lot of the areas he trolls are easily definable by looking at the contours. And he's got it all programmed that his downriggers automatically come up and down.
I've seen this technology as well.
Have you too? Yeah. And not being a downrigger guy,
Yeah.
I mean, the first downrigger I ever had was a bicycle wheel with the pedals attached in the middle, and you could roll.
Well, this is a great segue, great segue. But Steve's got a question here that we'll get answered first. Maybe a silly question. However, I am seeing some smallmouth in the mouth of some Lake Ontario tributaries. Is this kind of early, or can you explain it? No.
Water temperature.
Water temperature.
I know all the guys that are guiding on the American side in the open bass season right now, the first part of the season here in the St. Lawrence, they're right up in 4 or 5 feet of water. Like I told you about the guy with the ice bait things and putting the floaters in them and all that stuff. Cool quarter-ounce sinker. So he's not fishing very deep on a quarter-ounce.
True enough.
Yeah.
So with this this theme here about technology, I also stumbled across this, which was also in the paper, and this is taking spot lock to a whole next generation, and it's all about drifting. Anybody likes to fish like the walleye anglers, we love that drift. The drift is so important. Well, now you can control this drift with your Humminbird. Listen to this. This is incredible.
Guys, a little piece that we've been using all year long. It's drift mode from the new Quest series at Minn Kota, and it is just a phenomenal feature. We have the wind coming in from the southeast right now, and here's the piece of structure that I'm going to lay on right now. So we stopped here, and here's where I want to drift back and forth. We have the wind coming from southeast, and now the motor is going to pull us back and forth, keeping us in where the fish are. So all I simply do is hit my drift button, and you can see I have jog and I have angle. Right now, if I need to jog forward or back on my track, I can jog left or right, 5, 10 feet. Right now, I just said 10 feet. I'm jogging 10 feet right now. If I want to adjust my angle, quite simply, let's go left or right, 5 degrees, 10 degrees, and that motor will ultimately adjust you again to dial in that drift. And I'll just start down the drift. On my first drift, I just adjust it minutely, and then that lays my trail down, and then you just keep rinsing and repeating that and extracting those fish out. You don't have to worry about casting bags out. You don't have to worry about running the trolling motor against drift bags and this and that. You simply hit a button and let the motor do all the work outside of a few minor adjustments.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's amazing, because I remember when I used to do all the walleye fishing, and I learned to use the angle of the motor to drift. Like spinning, I say to someone, spin the wheel all the way to the right, and they go, why? And I say, because I want to drift. I want the boat to come. It would make it drift different because of the rudder, the motor acting like a rudder, or just put a half a turn, and we're drifting right on the edge of the weeds. Now, it doesn't work when there's a big wind. Now that would, because it's got power doing it.
Yeah.
But the number of times, yeah.
And the whole reason I'm going down this road is, of course, we have been. I feel like a punching bag. I don't even own one, but I feel like a punching bag when it comes to forward-facing sonar. We are so on forward-facing sonar as the be-all and end-all of technology, and it's going to do terrible things to all the fish. Like, well, what about all this? Like holy smokes, man! Spot lock was one thing that would be able to keep you on the fish. But now to be able to control your boat position and how fast you're drifting and how the angle of your holy smokes.
These are the guys that yeah, these are the guys that were already capable of catching tons of fish, and they're just making it easier on themselves now to catch the fish. You know, it's I don't really believe that they would. Well, they probably could catch it more because it keeps them more efficient in what they're doing. They're not spending any time correcting. Like you know that I'm lightweights behind in this stuff because I just when you don't compete anymore and you're not into it, you're not the same. But a few years back, I discovered spot lock. It was on the motors forever. I started to use it. I thought I found the second coming. It was just like the greatest thing. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
It was incredible. You know,
It's
just a simple little thing.
It's so true.
I used it. I used it one day last year, and 2 years ago when I was out with Lewis, and that big patch of milfoil I constantly go to that just produces year after year till last year when nothing produced. I'm looking at it the whole time. I don't have to touch the motor too often. You know, it does it for me. If you get a big gust of wind, the motor will kick in for a longer period of time to pull itself back to the GPS, whatever else. But man, it was like, you catch a fish and you didn't have to run there and hold your foot on the electric or you drift off and I'll get a 20-mile-an-hour wind. I can't find it now. You're looking at it, you got to follow the track back. It's not just right beside you anymore.
So
And
true.
all these things just take it to a different level. Now you can pull up on the weed bed, you can look at it and go, eh.
And the one thing, and this will be the last, because this I've been building sort of a story here, as you can tell.
Well, I have to go now. Could be right there.
Yeah, no,
Tammy fell down the stairs. I gotta go.
No, you don't get off that easy. No. And really, when it comes to these technological advances, new techniques, new baits, new hardware, new gear, like all of this builds a passion, it builds a following, and it's always that what's next, right? And Jim, I know you may not be in competitive fishing anymore, but I see you when we go out fishing together, dude. You could just tell you're at a different level when you're going to be out in the water enjoying yourself, and it's that passion. And folks, we've talked. Jim and I have talked about this. Jay's and Lawrence as well. The mental aspects, the mental health that fishing associates you with. Well, Al Linder shared something on the weekend that I think takes it to the next level. It not only helps your mental health, but it keeps you alive. Listen to this.
Here's something with you. Last night, I went to the Minnesota Walleye Alliance banquet here in my hometown of Brainerd, Minnesota. The Walleye Alliance does a lot of great things that impact the sport of walleye fishing in our state. And they shared one of the current projects that they were on and all the information that they gathered from it. Fun evening. Seen a lot of people that I haven't seen in a long time. Also, a very old friend of mine that I didn't see in just about a year. His name is Gary Roach. In the walleye world, he's known as Mr. Walleye. When the walleye tournaments were going strong, walleye fishing in the upper Midwest was growing all over the developing years. He was very influential, along with a handful of other anglers that moved the sport of walleye fishing to where it is today. Gary's 90 years old. We talked, 10, 15 minutes, and he's still got fire in the belly. He's a little hunched over, he's moving a little bit slower, but I was so impressed. He wasn't talking about the good old days. Yeah, in the world of bass and walleye fishing that we see today, almost everything is talking about the new young anglers, the generation coming in, the forward-facing sonar generations that's doing this, and this, and impacting every segment of the sport. Walleye fishing, bass fishing, makes no difference. But he was talking about where he's going to go this year, where he's going to start fishing at Ice Out. He was enthused, thinking ahead. Remember, the guy's 90 years old, and he's still excited about fishing. I got to thinking, driving last night back with my wife, that really moved me. Some of the old guard, I'm one of them, that had an impact on the sport of fishing in so many different ways, are still doing it. Names that came to mind, let's go back to the bass world a little bit. Bill Dance, Roland Martin. Yeah, there's other guys, but I want you Bill Dance and Roland Martin as examples. They're in their mid 80s, low to mid 80s. I'm 82, going on 82. We're still going strong. We love the business. We love the sport. We love fishing. Everything that makes the fishing experience what it is. And I got to thinking, these guys they're still in the game. That fire in the belly. They never ever got burned out because they had, where's the next bite? What's the next hot lake? What's the newest thing in technology? What can I do to be better? What can I do to find and catch more fish and share it with the next generation? It was a great fun evening, and I got so much out of it. And one of the things that resonated so much with me, if people that fish a lot live longer. If you fish a lot, you're going to live longer. Why? It's here. You have a dream. You're looking ahead. You're not burned out. You don't think back of the old days, the good old days. Good old days are now. They're tomorrow. They're what's coming. It's how you think. It's how you look at life in general. Be positive. It's uplifting. What is new? Stay young by staying active and dreaming. I had to share that with you. I'm going to say it again. People that fish a lot live longer. How about you?
I think I've heard that from somebody else.
Yeah, I've watched that about 6 or 8 times. And the cool thing about it was when he came up with Gary Roach.
Yep.
I can tell you what year it was because I keep this near and dear to my heart. 1978. I was the first Canadian. They used to give you this for your jacket when you fished a BSS tournament. Every tournament had its own patch, and you put them on your. Remember, you used to see all the patches. So when I got this, I had 2 of these. I gave one to Joey DiCenzo. When they made those outfits like the fishermen used to wear, I gave him one of these plus a whole bunch of others that were really old to put on it. And he has it on it. I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, he talked about Gary Roach, and it was so cool because Gary Roach was fishing in that tournament when he worked with Lindy, and I had got to know Al, and they were sending me little bits of stuff here and there because I was starting to have an influence. I was writing a lot in magazines. In fact, I talked to Tammy today when we were driving downtown. Somehow the topic of buses came up, and my mind, you're not as young as you used to be, it wanders, and I came up somehow out of the blue with Bert Myers calling me and asking me to write an article for Ontario Outdoors. Well, I've never done that before. And I said, I don't have a typewriter or anything, but I could try to put something together. And somehow I came up with 1,800 words. And I told him I didn't have a typewriter, so it was handwritten.
Wow.
And I had the pad page after page. And I wrote 1,800 words on the bus going to Toronto. And he met me, brought me to some burger place for lunch, and I handed him like 35 pages of handwritten or 50 pages of handwritten. And I had a groove in my finger that stayed for 2 weeks from the pen. And I remember these things. And this came into my head today because I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about catching walleyes before the season closed in the spring. And he wrote like a little piece at the beginning about it, explaining what it was. Nobody was talking about harvesting them, but the season is open and it's perfectly legitimate. So some guys wrote it and chirped, and this is when I came up with, well, I saw you last fall down in the Bay of Quinte, and you were harvesting 10-pound walleyes. So were they going to spawn? No. Does it make a difference when you took them? If they're gone out of the system, they're not spawning. It doesn't make a difference.
Yeah.
If you catch them the day after they spawn, then that means they're not spawning next year. And Bert put all this in there and everything else. And this guy wrote me a letter. I think I still have it somewhere. And he apologized to me for seeing that view. And now what happens? Look what happens now as soon as the season's, anywhere that the season's open. Well, look at bass season right now. The St. Lawrence is covered in boats.
Yeah.
You see license plates in Gananoque in the morning, Georgia, Alabama, Oklahoma. They're all here fishing for smallmouths and largemouths because the season's open, eh?
Yeah.
With things like that. But back to the original thing. So I'm the first person to fish a BSS tournament, and I meet up with Gary Roach, and I talked to him a few times and everything else. And I had my rods with me because I was the back of the boat guy, and I had my 5 rods with me, or no, 3 rods with me, and a backpack is what I had. And it was so cool because he says to me, how about after the tournament on Monday morning, if you stay, I'll take you fishing. So here I am, First tournament I ever fished in my life was the BSS tournament. I thought I was going to big time. I was going to win the Bassmaster Classic. That's the dream. That's what it is. Yeah. And anyways, cut a long story short, he took me fishing, and I caught a bunch of fish. He showed me some things. He showed me how to change a Texas rig. Of course, he had to show me a Lindy Sherlock hook. So he took my what hook did I have on? I forget what it was. One of the ones that TTI made. I forget the name of it now, but I had one of those on, and he gave me a pack of Sherlocks and retied it for me to show how it worked, and it was great because the worm didn't slide down the hook anymore. Whatever else. And he gave me Lindy tails. He gave me a whole bunch of Lindy swipe tails. That little triangle tail that they had on them, and everything else. And he gave me all this stuff, and then he brought me to the back of the truck, and there's a bunch of boxes back there. Remember the Lindy shadlings?
Oh yes. Oh, the
crankbaits, and they had different lips for different depths. You could change all this stuff. He says to me, he looks at me, he says to me, here's a kid. I was working at EB Eddies at the time, fresh out of high school. He says to me, take whatever you want. And he hands me a box, I don't know, about the size of a 12-pack of beer. And because he was working promotions. That's what he did. He traveled all over. He had all this stuff in the back. There was stuff to give away, just like I have stuff to give away, And he told me that I got all these crankbaits. So when I'm just thinking of it now, he could be the person who was responsible for me fishing crankbaits, and I had forgotten or didn't realize, because it's really, really cool when I look back on that now. But yeah, he took me out there. We went over on the Canadian side of the St. Lawrence because it wasn't open during the tournament. The season hadn't opened yet. It just opened on the Monday,
right,
after the weekend, which is. Anyway, that was a long time ago. That was like a long time ago. And he took me over to the Canadian side. So the fish hadn't been fished for, so they were stupid. We caught them one after the other, and I thought it was a great thing. I caught maybe 20 fish. I couldn't believe it. All on a Lindy swipetail worm. And then the following Saturday, I went to Clayton Lake out by Almont, Ontario, and I had the best day of my life ever bass fishing to this day for numbers. I caught 126 fish.
I don't even know how you remember that, but wow.
Yeah. When something like that is in your mind as an angler.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. Yeah. And everyone came on a Lindy swipetail worm. It was a green color. It was like not a watermelon, but close to it. It was like a cross between watermelon and motor oil.
Wow. Well, listen. This has been an incredible trip back in time, and I knew you were going to have 2 or 3 good stories. And,
when you were playing out there, I got emotional.
Dude, as soon as I saw Gary in that video, that's why I tip a hat, man. That man taught me so much about walleye fishing. I could never thank him.
He phoned me after to ask me how was I able to catch fish with plastics now all the time? And I told him about the day I had at Clayton Lake. And I remember him saying to me, well, if I ever get to Canada, you're taking me to Clayton Lake. Remember who gave you a box of free tackle? Because he gave me more tackle than I owned.
That's awesome.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He gave me everything. There was all kinds of different things and stuff that Lindy made, including all the, the Lindy rigs and stuff like that. And that was like, I think awesome. I'm going to go have a cry on it.
Okay, well, you're welcome. And that was the goal for tonight. So I'm glad we achieved that. Chalk one up for the fat man.
Hey, is George still here? George still watching? If you are George, I should be stopped crying by tomorrow if you come visit. He's in Gananoque tomorrow night with the Muskies Club.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So if he gets time, he was going to run up for a quick visit and visit the Tackle Kingdom.
Awesome stuff. Well, listen,
Bring
Jim.
a box with you, George.
We'd love to stay and talk forever, but
I might have a bunch of power baits for you.
Thanks again, buddy, for all you do. Can't thank you enough, and we look forward to seeing you again next Monday.
Always.
Right on. We got Lawrence coming
Safe,
up right
please.
after a word from our sponsor. Take care, Jim. All the best.
Be good. Yep.
Good evening, Lawrence. How you doing, buddy? Don't get mad. We went a little bit longer with Jim, but as I said, how I built that, the end goal, I knew he'd get a little emotional. So I was hoping that was going to be the result. And you know what? As I say, chalk one up for the fat guy.
Oh man, yeah, it was really nice to hear those stories, and looking back and looking forward. It's fantastic. I love it.
Absolutely. And again, like, how he remembers, with the day out on Lake Clayton that he got 126 fish. Like, come on. I don't remember what I did yesterday. I do, I remember my personal best and some of the journeys and stories along with it, but I don't remember how many fish I caught up last year at Horwood or anything. Like, I don't know. As I said, competitive anglers are a different breed. They just are a different breed. And I think Al said it best. It's what keeps them going.
You have those great memories and you want to make more. Why not?
Absolutely.
Why not?
Absolutely. So real quick, we'd love to know, because all the rivers and most of the north is underwater that's not frozen. Can you give us an update? Or do we want to hear an update on the research center?
Well, yeah, we're down. We're 40 kilometers down this logging road, and there's some dips, where there's culverts, and it's not unusual this time of year for those culverts to get washed out here and there, and when they wash out, my God, they wash out, right? Like, you can't take a 4-wheel drive across there. It's a canyon, so right. It means loads and loads of gravel. Means new culverts, bring it in, and everything. The frost is kind of coming out of the ground now. Finally, we still got snow up there. There's still ice on the lake, and so more melting to do. The nearest town from us is underwater. It's right where the Colonish River flows into the Ottawa River, near just sort of north of Pembroke, and it's underwater. The main street's underwater there. So there's some flooding going on there for sure, but it's been a slow and steady melt so far. We didn't get a ton of heavy rain this spring, just a little bit here and there. So it's a lot of snow, a lot of ice melting, and it's coming down in little spurts, here and there. But so far so good. We're not hitting 2017 or 2019 highs by any stretch, but there's some flooding for sure.
Oof. Well, let's hope for the best. And of course, we'll prepare for the worst. But as I said, if a hand is what you need, CFN will be there to do our very best to try and give you whatever help we can. Because as I said, I know how important this research center is to you, and anything that we could do to possibly help, just count us in.
Thanks, buddy.
With that being said, I thought about this when we first spoke tonight, just before we went live, and I thought, Scotty, you can't ask that question. That's just dumb. Did you see the Fish City video?
Oh my God! It was in the news. I know these people. They're amazing people. They just love doing underwater photography, and they're one of maybe 10 owners of these underwater remote operated vehicles. These ROVs. They're like $250,000. They look like artwork, man. They're all
Yep.
arms and legs and propellers here and there and cameras and headlights bobbing out. It's just absolutely bizarre looking animals. It's probably if I spread my arms, it's that wide, right? That's how big they are. And what they capture, those images underwater in the Great Lakes, yeah, it's not like tropical conditions. You're not looking at coral in crystal clear water, but you're seeing things that scientists who study the Great Lakes for their whole careers have never seen.
Right. And that's what we were talking about. I mean, at the end of the day, I think anybody that has, fished, I'd like to think if you live in around the Great Lakes, you've probably fished an outflow of one of these power plants.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
and I know you have as a young angler, and tell us about some of that.
Pickering was always, like I grew up in Georgetown, northwest of Toronto, but you heard rumors about Pickering. Pickering had that outflow going into Lake Ontario, and in the middle of winter, you could launch a boat in that area. You could stand on the ice and cast into the open water, and because of this tremendous temperature difference. So the nuclear reactors are cooled by water. It's not a closed system. They take water in and with the CANDU reactors anyways, and then they release the water back into the lake warmer than it is when it was coming in, to the reactor. It's warmed up, goes back into the lake, and it creates these fish cities, they call them. So this was something people knew about, a handful of anglers knew about, people who fish knew about, but the public didn't know about this. So they've gone and filmed it. And man, oh man, yeah, people are going, what?
Yeah, it's so true. And as they saw, like, I mean, I'm not sure what other people's take was that saw this, but I'm sure a lot of folks tuned in. It was intriguing. I just said I was probably like some hoping for more vivid photos, if you will. But at the end of the day, regardless of how good and how much money you spend on your ROV, at the end of the day, like the Great Lakes, they're silted, and with all the rain that we've had and the amount of discharge, let's be honest, like it'd be tough to get like crystal clear photography, no matter how expensive your camera was. But needless to say, it was interesting. I was certainly engaged the whole time that I was watching it, and I'm sure others felt the same. But at the end of the day, I think what we just talked about was the browning of the water. Like, I mean, this is something that we're starting to see, and we're having to deal with a lot more often than ever before.
Well, you're right, Scotty. And there's some science that just came out recently that tracks fresh water in Canada and rivers mainly. And they say our rivers are getting browner. And so what does that mean, right? Okay, the water's getting a little more silty. It's not as clear as it used to. You can't dip your hand in and take a drink. There's that, all of that. But that some species of fish are really sight hunters. They depend on their sight, almost exclusively to hunt and gather food. And other fish are really good at catching things in low light. I'm talking walleye and pike. So as a result of this browning water situation, they're documenting that some native fish species in decline and other native fish species are on the uptick.
Interesting. And I know a lot of this this theory and this work is being done, I believe, on the New York side, more so than our side. But I'm sure the Great Lakes Commission, now that they have this kind of technology available to them, they're going to be doing a lot more studies when it comes to our freshwater species and how brown water is affecting them. But something, and I get this question a lot. And sometimes you got to walk a tightrope when we discuss controversial subjects. But at the end of the day, folks always ask me, Scott, how much fish do you eat out of the Great Lakes? Mm-hmm. And I'll be honest, I don't eat a lot. If I eat a salmon, it's usually a small salmon. I like my walleye, so a good feed of Lake Erie walleye is something that I truly enjoy. And I don't think it's out of choice necessarily. I just don't particularly eat a lot of Great Lake fish. I love my tuna. I love my salmon and what have you. All kinds of white flaky fish. But it's interesting because people are asking, and I think a lot of it is because of the unknown. Mm-hmm. Is it safe to eat Great Lakes fish? And you know what? I am certainly not the right person to answer that question. I know there's a lot of folks that devote a lot of time and a lot of research that are far better supported in answering something like that. But, you know, Lawrence, at the end of the day, you said it before we went live. We have not really updated, per se, you know, the eating of Ontario's sport fish in a long time. And do we trust those who are telling us the information now?
It's a public trust issue, isn't it? You know, do you trust these fish to be edible? You know, thinking back, you know, the 1980s when Lake Erie was a officially dead lake, you know, in the 1970s when the water bodies could be catching on fire, you know, toxic blobs and canals and St. Clair River. You know, these stories are fresh in our memories, right? And if not, you know, if you're younger, you heard about them. And mercury and PCBs and DDTs and now microplastics and PFAS chemicals, forever chemicals, endocrine disruptors and things like that. You know, you think, oh my God, no, I can't trust any of that. And but you know what? We have science. It's getting, I think, maybe better. Yeah, maybe they don't publish the booklet in Ontario anymore, but there's a significant effort being put on by the Ontario government to get more transparent with their findings. They rejigged their website. They've made it a lot more user friendly, so it's easier to find information about where you're fishing. But remember, you know, they don't test all the fish species, all the different places. There's over, I think, 2,000 test sites in Ontario that are tested by the federal Ontario government, just on the, you know, provincial side. On the American side, they have many states who also do testing on their territorial waters. And do we do the same testing on the same fish? No. Does Ontario do the same testing on the same fish all across Ontario? No. So you got to take that with a bit of grain of salt too, right? But I'll tell you, there's some good news, and that is, you know, some of these American states, and New York State especially, which has a lot of Lake Ontario and St. Lawrence territory, has made their reduce their fish consumption advisories. So now, before, if you were a young child, a woman, a pregnant woman, a woman considering having children, they were saying don't eat the fish. Now you can. Maybe not as adult men can eat more meals, and other people who maybe were considered high risk can eat now 2 to 4 meals a month. Yeah, check the regs on the New York side. Ontario, you know, is also getting more accurate with their testing and going back more often, from what I hear. And like I said, they rejigged their website. I think there's a big move. There's fish in the lakes. There's no doubt there's fish in the lakes, and all the Great Lakes are doing very well on many fronts. And I think the government say, look, this is huge money, right? This is a $7 billion industry just on the Great Lakes. $7 billion. You got to get the word out. It's not just toxic popsicles floating around out there. These are fish that you can safely eat. So are you someone who just doesn't know about fish consumption advisories? Have you heard of them and you don't believe them because you don't trust government? Or do you just think, just a little bit won't hurt you? It's just like anything. Don't drink too much, don't smoke too much, and it won't kill you. So there's a lot of people who have different approaches. You can talk to people and they all have fall into different camps. But I think in general, I think we can say that it's getting better. The safety of the fish to be eaten in the Great Lakes is getting better.
And a lot of that, I think, too, is the water quality itself. And one thing that we don't speak, I think, as highly of as we should, is the work that zebra mussels are doing to filter a lot of this.
Yeah. There's a lot of filtering going on in the Great Lakes, man. And that's one thing that ROV found out, is that the bottom of the Great Lakes are encrusted with quagga mussels in the deeper areas and zebra mussels along the inshore areas of the Great Lakes. There's that one thing's down in the bottom of the Great Lakes. It's mussels, as far as the eye can see. So there's a lot of filtering going on. And then there's certain fish that eat those, like common carp, eat zebra mussels. So you might still not want to eat common carp. I'm not sure if they've listed the consumption advisories on those yet. I don't think they have. But most fish aren't eating the zebra mussels, and they're eating gobies. They're eating gobies. So, and there's lots of those to go around.
Amen. It's funny, Dave, I do appreciate your comment, because I think, this is probably where most people that are eating fish out of the Great Lakes are at. David says, show me one person who has got sick from eating fish from the Great Lakes. We're exposed to so much pollutants everywhere that eating the fish is just a drop in the bucket. And it's, it's a good argument to make. Unfortunately, I do have a good friend of mine, Jason Doyen, who was well publicized. He was taking some of his catch home and eating it, and was eating it at a very large amount. But it was normal for him. It was nothing out of the ordinary for him. And unfortunately, Jason got very, very, very sick, and it was all due to mercury poisoning. And unfortunately, a lot of his organs shut down, and we almost lost him, unfortunately. Knock on wood that he's alive and well and competing and doing very well in walleye tournaments all across the Great Lakes. So thankfully to that, and I'm sure he's a very appreciative of the medical system that was able to bring him back. But to your point, like at the end of the day, it's like anything in moderation, right?
Yeah. Tuna. You said tuna. Tuna has really high levels of mercury.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just don't eat a can of tuna every day. And your friend Jason was eating, I think, 3 to 5 meals a week, and he did that for 3 months in a row. And it wasn't just Great Lakes fish either. It was up, I think, north of Sault Ste. Marie, right? In some of those lakes up in that way too. And some of that is naturally occurring mercury as well, where it's there's different types of mercury. There's stuff that's being released by paper mills, and then there's stuff when you just make a lake, when you put up a dam and you cut down the trees, and those trees are in the bottom of the lake, and they release mercury. It's naturally occurring mercury, but it's still in high amounts. It's not good for you.
Yeah, and Terry, you just nailed it. There's one area that we're familiar with in Wawa area that's bad for a while for mercury, especially in the 80s. Still high levels, and of course, the trees are now decaying at the bottom of the lake, and what have they been sucking up is all the water and of course the mercury along with it. So as they decay, they're releasing these mercury, the mercury at large concentrations. But at the end of the day, you have folks that eat that up there, and you never hear any issues of it. I'm sure they're not eating it every night and having massive fish fries, but it's like anything else, in moderation. Fish are extremely good for us to eat. They're important part of our diet, and it's unfortunate, as Dave said, we're bombarded with pollutants all over the place. So how are we going to get away?
Yeah, 40 million people get their drinking water from the Great Lakes, right? 40 million people drink their water out of the Great Lakes. Just that, and the fact that it's the most valuable freshwater fishery in the world. Those two things alone, we drink the water, we eat the fish that live in the water. We should be doubling down on protecting the Great Lakes. And, there was 43 areas of concern left over from the Industrial Revolution that are being cleaned up. Where there was just intensive toxicity, on the St. Lawrence near Cornwall from the big paper mill plant that was there for years. The steel mill in Hamilton Harbor is another one. I can go on and on, but they're slowly being cleaned up. And now we see regulations are being stripped away on the American side. We're seeing, industry being attracted to come back to the Great Lakes. So we're starting maybe to see the cycle repeat, and that would be a damn shame.
It is. And it's funny, Sean, right on cue, my friend. They are now finding pharmaceuticals in the Great Lakes. Yes. Fentanyl is unfortunately something that is starting to show up on a regular basis. And that is unfortunate because, of course, we know how much of that is out there. But you and I spoke about this. This was quite a few lives ago, but they did a study out on the West Coast salmon, and they were taking some of the contaminants, if you will, or at least chemicals that they were finding in the fatty tissue of salmon. And one of the highest concentrations of byproducts, if you will, for lack of a saying, or pollutants, was ibuprofen.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I don't know that there's been a lot of study done when it comes to pharmaceuticals, if and when they break down in our freshwater systems.
Yeah. It's estrogen from the pill, right? How many women are on the pill? It gets peed out, goes into the toilet, down through the toilet, through the septic, the plants where they clean the sewage. They don't get the estrogen out. They don't get the pharmaceuticals out. That would be very difficult. So it goes into the water. We drink the water, and now we see small minnows in the Great Lakes, and especially in the St. Lawrence River, where they have, have both sexes. The male minnows have ovaries. Oh, they're finding that, in a lot of cases.
Really?
Yeah. From the estrogen hormone.
Wow.
That's in the pill. The pill is estrogen hormone. Cocaine, man, cocaine in fish.
Yeah.
That's being detected. We're learning about this now, and it's not a secret. We got to talk about this more. Like I've been saying, there's been all these campaigns to stop sewage releases into the rivers and lakes across Canada, and there's all sorts of fights about it. And then you talk to some people, I taught a friend of mine who guides muskie on the St. Lawrence River below Montreal, and he said, ever since they really started purifying their water much better, treating their water much better, there's less raw sewage going into the water. The weed beds, there's less weed beds now. And there's less habitat for muskie, so the muskie fishing isn't as good below Montreal anymore. So there's but this is nutrients they're taking out of the river poop, and floaties, condoms, and tampon applicators. Things get flushed out. So all the sightly things, right, the unsightly things that you don't want to see, drifting up on your beach or out in the water when you're fishing. I remember paddling down the St. Lawrence River past Montreal after a big rain. This was 1977, and as far as you could see in any direction, it was just bobbing condoms. It just absolutely disgusting. You didn't even want to put your paddle in the water. It was so freaky. Oh yeah. But now, so we take the unsightly stuff out, right? We capture that now more effectively. We don't release raw sewage into the rivers and lakes anymore. Very seldom, less and less. But it's the stuff you don't see. We haven't even touched that yet. So true.
Well, I don't want to hurry you along, but we're going to get to that 2-hour mark very, very soon. And, again, we have myself and Jim to blame for that, but I digress.
All good, buddy.
What have you got upcoming this week, Lawrence? What are you going to be busy on?
Oh, we're working with Ottawa U. They've got some MBA students that are looking for some summer projects. So they've offered us 2 groups of 5 students each to do some work with us for the center and the Bluefish Explorer. So that's going to be interesting. Yeah, I got to pitch them, get them so the students can pick. It's kind of a dragon's den. We go up front, a little social entrepreneurs, and make a pitch to the students. And there's 38 students in each class, and they all have to pick a project. And hopefully we'll get some on our side. We got some students we're hiring. We're going to hire 3 students this year. The applications are starting to roll in. We've got some really good, really qualified people. I tell you, it's exciting. So that's happening. So yeah, we're gearing up, my friend. We're gearing up.
Awesome stuff. Well, Steve just wanted me to remind you that he saw a fellow walk by your window. So if you were expecting an Amazon package, it's there.
What? Yeah. I think it's my son and his buddy out there goofing around on the driveway.
Likely. Yeah, most likely. Lawrence, as always, buddy, thanks so much for not just showing up as you do every Monday, but willing to talk about some of the tough subjects. And again, everybody tries to be as politically correct, or at least we try to anyway, on this show. And but we still want to talk about those stinging subjects that might not be something that is appropriate to talk about on this kind of platform. We walk that line, you and I really appreciate you walking it with me, my friend.
Oh, my pleasure. If freedom of speech, we got to talk about things. Can't just pretend it's not happening.
100%.
Yeah.
You have yourself a great week, pal.
You too.
Right on. We got Jay Barnucz coming up right after a word from his sponsor.
Max Scent is better because of its scent dispersion. It's that simple. It's a type of material that allows the chemicals we put in there to ooze out quicker, and it creates a larger scent field faster. That brings fish to the bait. And then, you know, the perfect lure is always, they see it, they come close, they smell it. Since fish do not have arms, they test things with their mouths. So he puts it in his mouth, done. The scent and flavor just got him. Flux gill, its unique thing is that it has the holes in it, right? And it creates surface area that's way more than if that was a non-perforated bait. Why is that important? Surface area is important because the more water contacts that bait, the more scent is getting into the water and quicker. And that's why that amount of surface area will get you fish when it's tougher, but it'll also catch you more fish when it's not tough.
Jay Barnucz is with us. How you doing, Jay?
What is up, man?
Always a pleasure to have you here. And, of course, it's nice to be able to have some new ads downloaded and ready to go for some of your incredible sponsors. And some of the incredible
buddy.
Because this is going to be something, if it isn't already on the tournament trail, this is going to be really something that some folks are going to want to try. That new bait that from Max Scent looks killer.
Yeah, I think they really hit it out of the park. Like, I think with that particular, so everyone is a fan of Max Scent that's tried it, but I think that what they've done with the Flex Gill was they're going to come up with more baits like that, where they, and that's Mark Sexton. Mark Sexton is the lead scientist at Berkeley, and Mark's a great guy. I've talked to him several times, especially when I'm down at the Classic, and Mark, explains it very well, where you just have, it's just more surface area to let that scent come through. And playing around with that bait a little bit, I think they have a 3-inch and a 5-inch version. So the 3-inch is going to be great on even on a drop shot. But the 5-inch, actually, it makes a great trailer on Jim was talking about bladed jigs, right? Great bladed jig trailer. You can use it on a Carolina rig, a rig that I want to do more of this year because I saw some great results with it last year, was a free rig, which is, we could talk about that in future shows. That's for bass fishing coming up. But yeah, it's just great technology coming out of Berkeley, and it's good to see that coming down the line.
100%. I got to get your take. Did you watch the Fish City video, that promotion that?
Yeah, I did. It was great. So Nick, Dr. Mandrak, was online with a researcher from, her name is Sherry Lynn, and she is the research scientist at Bruce Nuclear. And yeah, it was a really cool video. The live stream worked out really well. They did a lot of great Q&A, much like what we're doing right now. Mm-hmm. And I watched it on YouTube. It was fantastic. So, and I think that a lot of folks that tuned in learned a lot about the Great Lakes and so they weren't just looking at the fish, but they talked a lot about questions about invasive species and native species and more. So yeah, it was really, really well done. And I hope they do more of those in the future.
I and I know you can buy into this, because this is something that, as a youngster, when I was growing up, I would have loved to have watched stuff like this. I wish stuff like this was available, by the truckload. I couldn't get enough fish pics and videos if they were available. Something like this, I would have been at the edge of my seat. It was interesting, and to your point, some great questions that were asked. I think, folks, as Jim mentioned in his segment, the average angler is so much more educated than they were back when I was a kid.
Yeah, there's just so much more information out there. It's honestly a little disappointing sometimes because, so for example, we've been, I don't know about you, man, but when you get to be of a certain age, you start going through stuff in your house, you start going through things. And I have such a collection of DVDs and VHS tapes of fishing videos. And I have to ask, and even books I won't part with. I'm a bit of a book nut. I can't part with them, but man, with the information on YouTube now, it's all at my fingertips. Why am I keeping those things? and the technology's changed so much too. Like some of the videos I've kept are more nostalgic videos. Like I have like KVD spinnerbait how-to videos, you know, stuff that it's not that I'm learning more, it's more the nostalgia of keeping those videos around, just being able to watch them. But they're also on YouTube now. Like it's kind of depressing, man. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of depressing.
Well, we're going to use that knowledge that you have at great use, and we have come up with something that we're going to share at the end of the show. Folks, we're going to test your knowledge, and what Jay and I have come up with is what's your angle, and it's a contest that we're going to do every week. You're going to have the ability to qualify by answering the question. And Jay, I have to ask, you know, not to get too far into it because we'll talk about it at the end.
Yeah.
Not sure if it will be the first person to answer correctly, the fifth person, but at the end of the day, we will pick a winner each week. Your name will go into a hat, and at the end of the year, as a Christmas celebration, we will spin the wheel and find out who wins a great prize pack. And of course, Jay, you've mentioned that you'll be able to step up and put something together for us. So really appreciate that.
Yeah, like I think it's mostly to reward some of the great listeners that tune into the show all the time. And I expect I will be relying on, I'll give you one clue, what we talk about on the show. So if you tune in, then you got a chance to win, right?
I love your shirt, by the way. What a
thanks, man.
I love that shirt. So this past weekend, of course, it was, I think, what was it? The 36th annual Under the Lock.
Yeah. It was, 1987. So more than that. That's almost.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So here, let me share let me share my screen. Where is it here? Windows. There we go. So this is their Facebook page, and it's pretty cool, man. Like, so, and I talked about it last week, and what they do is I'm going to see if I can find, probably just from this picture here. So this is the lift lock in Peterborough, and about where the bottom of this image is they actually string a net across the channel, and they actually had a cool video of the volunteers like mending the nets. And Scotty, you and I have mended lots of nets, right?
Yeah.
That is painstaking work. Trevor's learning all about net mending right now. That's a whole other conversation. But yeah. And so when they're in this picture, all these anglers are lined up. Now this is from last year, but this is what it looks like this year. And yeah, everyone lines up, and there's literally dozens of fish put in the canal, and it's kind of neat, and I recommend people check it out. So all of these fish are being caught. Like, look at this. This is from an hour ago at 5:50 this evening, another tag fish. And so this angler caught this fish, and Brendan Sager caught a tag fish, $200. $200, man, for a tag trout. And this goes on. So now they do have limitations. I think it's on the first day. So Saturday morning, you have to be under a certain age to get rewarded for your tag fish. And but they have all of these tag fish, like yeah. So this is from a dentist in Peterborough, $200. So all these fish. And I'm going to see if I can find on here while we're here. This is big fish. And this was caught by this young angler. Like, it's just amazing, man.
So I wanted to ask, because I did download a video in regards to that, and it shows the young lad at the end. Gary, thanks for letting us know. It's 39 years.
It's amazing.
39 years.
And if anyone was fishing on Saturday, it was awful weather. Awful weather.
But I just, the turnout is incredible. All of these pop-up tents, Full Page is there with a whole bunch of other folks like the Lions Club. Muskies Canada was there. Obviously, the Canadian Sportfish, Muskies Canada was there. Yeah. And then there's some retailers that were local retailers that showed up. But you know, as you mentioned, not the greatest day to start this event, but
there's
it
gourd.
didn't matter.
There's gourd.
Yeah, it just didn't matter.
No, it is an awesome event. I've honestly never been, and I think if the kids were younger, I would take them for sure. Like I think this would have been an annual thing I would have done with the kids. This is
who you're holding.
I didn't even realize. Oh, here we go.
It's a big tagged fish. It's got a couple numbers on it that I cross-referenced with my phone here from the hatchery, and a blue tag. Do you want to guess who you have in your hand? Walter? You have won Walter.
So, with this being Walter, what does this young angler win?
Do you know what? I can't even. I think it was hundreds of dollars, man. Like I think it was $500 for Walter.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I'm actually gonna. I have it bookmarked here somewhere.
Well, I'll tell you, you're 100%, Jeanette. This is it is awesome, and the fact that it's been going on for as many years as it is, I like Jay. Unfortunately, I can't say that I've managed to get out there. One of these days, I might have to make a point. Maybe Jay, we'll go together. But it is a great event that is put on by a whole host of characters. So again, I don't even know who to thank, but OFAH obviously. Oh my, no way! Steve's saying he won $1,000.
$1,000. Thanks, Steve. Yeah, that's amazing. Like it's awesome, man. And I think they have over. I want to say it's over 50 tagged fish in this place, and so you're talking about literally like thousands of dollars swimming around, and so guys will fish. Now that's the thing. So after they let the kids fish, you can go. There's guys there and anglers there, families there the entire week until they take that net out. They're fishing there the entire time. So think about it. These guys are going up there and they're like, I'm going to go after work to the lift lock and try and catch a tagged trout. Like, why not? Go after work. It's awesome, man.
100%. But yeah, Dave, you're right. This is so awesome for the kids. Obviously, if you do catch a trout, there's cleaning facilities there, so you can take your fish home. But yeah, like, congratulations, $1,000 this kid won. That's amazing.
Yeah, there you go. And proceeds, so money raised goes back to OFAH. So the trout are donated. A lot of this money is donated, and there's matching funds, and it's done as a fundraiser for OFAH. It's a wonderful event. Wonderful. Yeah.
Unreal. $1,000. Well done. I didn't catch the name of the young lad, but you're $1,000 richer, and all you had to do was wet a line.
It's awesome. It's
incredible stuff.
What a great event. And to do something like that in your home waters is actually, it's not that hard to do. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
well, to all the organizers, OFAH, it's nice to see that we're putting on stuff that is getting kids into fishing. Obviously, there's a competitive element that goes along with it, but there ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Plus amazing prizes. Yeah, thanks, Steve, for that.
Yeah, I agree. And all the vendors, like it's a community event, right? All the vendors that come out. And all the people who donated money, a lot of them aren't tackle outfitters. They're just local businesses, right? Like landscapers and roofers and a dentist, like real estate brokers, like everyone's just pitching in. So, and that's what's important about these kids events. And I've learned this lesson the hard way. When I used to run kids events, you'd always go to the tackle shops to get prizes, which, okay, I want fishing tackle for the kids. I get it. You want rods, you want reels, you want combos, but there's tight margins on this stuff. And so it's hard to get enough stuff. But what I encourage, and I learned this from helping it with local tournaments here, local derbies, is go to the non-endemics. They want to donate to these events. They really do, but they can't donate tackle because they're a landscaper. But it's like, hey, can you give me $500? So then they will, and I'll take their $500, and I'm going to go down to Joe's tackle shop down the street and say, Joe, can I spend this money here? I need prizes. And quite often they'll give me like either a sale or they'll give me their wholesale price. So there's no skin off Joe's back. But guess what? Joe's going on the sign and Bob's Landscaping's going on the sign, right? This is how events should be run. And this event from OFAH is like the epitome of how kids events should go, because no kids went away empty-handed, because not only do they get all these prizes, but look at all the freebies just by having all of the different vendors there. And they're not just selling stuff but they're also giving stuff out. Like you saw Muskies Canada has lure making going on there. All like everyone's getting something out of it. It's fantastic. What a great event.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you shared that video that we were able to share tonight. Of course, OFAH, thanks for putting it together. And of course, putting on what it was and continues to be a great event. And I'll tell you, it's nice. It's just nice to see. To your point, Jay, it's nice to see a community get together and make something like this happen. So
I agree.
So cool.
I agree.
I see that you've shared wow.
Dude, I gotta share it. So Saturday was trout opener, and I saw like a bunch of CFNers out on Saturday. So this fish was caught. I got 3 fish Saturday morning. I'll tell you my short trip on Saturday morning. We left here now Trevor worked until 2 a.m. and I'll give him credit. He was up at 5:30. We were gone by 5:45. Drove to our spot, went to my buddy's farm, went in, had a coffee, and we're spoiled there. They have a side by side, and they got trails along the river, Scotty. Like I love trout opener just for that reason. So I'm side by side with Trev and my buddy's son Reese. The 3 of us go down to the river. This was like my 3rd cast, 16-inch brown. So I get this one on a crankbait, the same little hit stick I've been talking about for 2 years, man. Those little lures are just fantastic. So I get the hit stick, I get this guy on, and we decide to keep moving. So then,
look at the colors in that fish, though.
Yeah,
and that hasn't been put through a filter. You haven't done anything to that picture, and look at the beautiful colors.
So wait, I'm going to show you another one. So a little while later, where is it? This is like half an hour later.
Oh,
this one was 21 inches long. That's my guess. I have this. So I work with so many fish. I know that on my fingers is 9 inches, 9¼ inches. So it was over 20 inches, just about 21 inches long. And I have a video, which I haven't done the editing yet, but I'll have to edit it and share it on one of the upcoming shows. I want to get Trevor's ringtone changed to his dad yelling, Trevor. So what happened was I was in this, actually, I'm going to try and share. I'm going to see if I have one more picture to share. If I can find it. One sec. Because if I can find it, yeah, this picture kind of shows it better. I'll share this one too. All right, we're going to stop sharing. And then
that is a gorgeous trout. Well done, brother. Holy
so
smokes.
it was, let's see if I can find it. Where did I put it? Oh, no. Come on, technology.
Yes, you're
there
right,
we go.
David. It was turkey opener on the weekend.
It was.
Yeah.
So
hope everybody that is a hunter got out and enjoyed some.
Got very lucky. So my buddies who have this farm, they also turkey hunt, and they gave us the chance to fish instead of because what we'll do, they have a pretty large farm, so they'll hunt one end of the farm and then we'll fish the other. Like we like, to be safe, right? But this year they said they're not going to hunt. Okay, so in the background here, the current is coming here from in the image from right to left. Okay, I got my arrow.
Yeah.
So I'm fishing, and there's a log jam here, and there's just a narrow spot here, and I casted my crankbait just over behind this log, and as I'm bringing it back across the channel, and I'm standing on this log here, and I brought it to my feet. Picture that little crankbait is about maybe, I don't know, 3-4 feet from the end of my rod. This guy sharks it. This trout comes up, and at my feet, I see him come out of the depths, grabs my crankbait, and sharks it and goes down. And I'm on.
No way.
And I'm yelling. It's all on the camera. And I'm yelling, Trevor, because I'm like, I need help with this fish. And anyways, I was able to land it without him. And I call him on the phone. It's pouring rain, dude. Pouring rain.
Oh, I know.
And I call him and I'm like, dude, I don't want to bug you, but can you come take a picture of the old man with this fish? I think I got a 20-incher. He's like, come on. I go, yeah, I think I got a 20-incher. So he comes over, takes a picture. And yeah, that's the biggest brown we've caught in that stretch of Big Creek. So there you go.
Dear
and
Lord.
All the fish. And then but I'll give the boy credit. So after we finished fishing, we actually ended up going. So I got 3 fish in about 2 hours, and we're soaked. Like even with my rain gear, like it's cold, dude. It's like 5 degrees out. So we went up to the barn because my buddy Gaza calls me. He goes, dude, I got coffee on, I got soup on. We went up there. He had made stew. He teaches culinary arts at a high school in Brantford. So he had made this beef stew, and dude, the stew had chunks of meat in it with the bone still in it. So I'm like picking up the bone, like the bones out of the soup and just eating meat off the bone. Anyways, we warm up, we watch a little bit of playoff highlights, and then I came home. Trevor came home. Now he worked till 2 a.m. Okay, give the kid credit. He came home, had a nap, and about 12:30, I hear the door slam. Out he goes. He went back to the farm. They caught another half dozen browns. And then that night, he went down to get steelhead in Big Creek. The kid fished all day. I'll give the kid credit. I didn't do that. I'm like, no, I got my big one in the morning. I'm good. So, yeah, no, it was a great day of fishing. And I don't know about you, man, but opening day it's a tradition for me that it's about spending time with family and friends, you know. And I said to Trevor, I said, you're going to university next year. I said, opening day is going to become your Christmas. Yeah. That's going to be your first weekend off after exams. I remember going to university and college, man. And you just finished that. April is a grind with finals. And trout opener is like the first day you're done exams. And I said, I said, next year's going to be different, man. You're going to love trout opener more than you ever have. So,
well, again, I was not one that targeted trout just because I didn't know a lot about it. But I will say I feel the same way about walleye opener as you do trout. So I can appreciate how it's a tradition. And as I've always said, families that fish together stay together. So that is absolutely awesome to see.
Yeah.
With that being said, sorry. With that being said, what is David saying here? It is.
Yeah, it's true.
It is the.
We all have these traditions, and these traditions are just important to have, right?
Very, very
agreed,
true.
100%.
So this is a new concept that both Jay and I have come up with. Jay has really gone above and beyond. It's called "What's the Angle?" contest with Jason Barnucz. And what we're going to do is we're going to give you some skill testing questions, and of course, at this day and age, there is no getting around Google. There's no getting around AI.
No.
So we invite you to do that, because at the end of the day, the only man that truly knows the answer to this question is right there in front of you. And basically, he is going to be the one that judges who is closest to getting the right answer and hopefully bang on, so that you will be the first one to qualify for our year-end giveaway, which is really, really cool. So the theme of tonight's question is what we talked about last week at great length. The pen imprinting project was undertaken to improve fall returns to fish to Port Dalhousie. And of course, we had Mark Penner on here talking all about the St. Catharines Game and Fish Club and all of the wonderful work that they're doing down in that area. And of course, this is basically a spinoff from all the information that we got. So this is a 2-part question. The first part of the question, what species of salmon does the program raise? Interesting question. And You almost had to listen to last week's live to find out. But you can Google it. You can certainly ask AI, but the only man that truly knows the answer is sitting right there. The second part to the question, on average, how many fish are released each year from this pen project? Cool stuff. So again, put your answers in the comments. By all means, what we are especially doing is making sure that we have a good quantity of viewers still with us at the end, and we're gonna help make that worth your while. So it's really cool, and as I said, it's something that is new. We haven't really done this before, and Jay is dedicated. I'm actually surprised you're with us today, Jay, and not on the road at the hotel. I thought you were going to be in a hotel this week.
Oh, I was supposed to, but Mother Nature had different plans. We got more rain on the weekend, Scotty.
This is true. This is true. Yeah.
So everything I've never. I don't think I've seen such delays from rain in a while. It's been years since rain has delayed my start to field season. It's almost getting to the point where it's. I talked to my manager today, and we're just laughing about it. We're like, this is wild, because we're trying to make plans 2-3 weeks out from now, and all you keep seeing is more rain. There's more rain in the forecast this week. So, and cooler temps too, right? So we'll see. But if things go to plan, I will be sitting in a Holiday Inn somewhere next Monday night. So you'll be seeing me from a different angle with just crappy hotel decor behind me. So,
well, I hate to say, but there's more rain coming.
I know. I know.
And I will say, I cut the grass on the weekend, and after that belt of rain that we got on Saturday, and let's face it, you were out in it, so you know it was really coming down.
And it was, dude, it was soaked. I won't lie. So when I get up early in the morning, probably like you, I put my clothes out the night before. I'm too tired in the morning, man. I pick my clothes out the night before and I lay them out. And I had like different options for the morning. Like, I'm going to check the weather in the morning. I woke up at 4:45 and I looked at the weather and I'm like, 5 degrees. It feels like 2 degrees and it's raining out. I'm like, base layers, hoodies, like my ice fishing socks. Like, I went all in. Toque. The only thing I didn't bring was my fingerless gloves. And to be honest, I would have worn them if I had them. It was a little. I was trying to unclip a lure with the little tiny. I'm using tiny clips, right? I'm like, oh, for the love of God, I can't even work a clip. I had to use my forceps, and I can't see. These eyes are getting bad too. My readers were all covered in water spots. And I'm trying to open a clip I got forceps. Dude, I'm a mess. I'm such a mess. Good God.
You're not alone, dude. I have my readers here, and some of the stuff that I was gonna. I tried desperately not to have to put them on, but I'm like you, man. Like, I can't read my hand, let alone anything else. So
I don't even leave. I hate it when I leave the house without them now, because I can't even read. Like, and this has all happened in about, I swear to God, in about 18 months. My vision has just dropped right off.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah. I don't know what to attest it to. Obviously, you've been taking care of yourself, so I could still lose a few pounds. You're at least going down the right path, and to hear that it's happening to you is refreshing, because I thought it might just be me.
I thought maybe maybe it's because of fat loss that my vision. I was like, David, this is crazy.
David,
we got a couple answers, but
that's a great guess. That's a really good guess.
Yeah, we won't give away the winners. We're going to keep track. Track. But
number one, genetically modified, and 2 more than needed. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know.
I'm surprised there's not a slant in there about Berkeley.
Spoken like a true science guy. I love it. It.
As always, it's a pleasure to have you. I don't want to kick you off by any means, but we have held you back. I said, Jim's segment went a little bit longer. What's upcoming for this week? Obviously, there's a good chance you'll be on the road. Anything else that you're looking forward to?
Hopefully, I'd like to get out and do some more brown trout fishing for the next couple of weeks. So hopefully get out at least once after work this week, maybe twice. And then next week I'll be on the road all next week. So I doubt I'll get any fishing in. So hopefully this week I'll get out once or twice after work And yeah, man, just enjoy it. Listen, brown trout, it's handy, it's local. Trout season's open, so who knows? We'll just do some of that, and then from there, man, we'll just take it 1 week at a time. So,
amen. Thanks as always, Jay. Really appreciate you putting the contest together. And of course, it is going to evolve. Jay and I haven't exactly got all the rules down exactly how we want them. But at the end of the day, you can't win if you don't guess. So by all means, throw a guess in the comments, and hopefully you're right. And hopefully you
and if you check out the interview with Mark Penner, it might be in that episode, which is 2 weeks ago. So go check it out. Might be in there.
Bingo.
Okay.
As always, Jay, thanks for your time, pal. Thanks for all you do. Really appreciate
it. Thanks, buddy. Thanks, man. We'll see you.
All the best.
All right.
So that is the end of our show. Thanks so much, folks, for sticking around as long as you have. Again, we are going to try and do our very best to make it worth your while to stick along. And I want to thank Jay Barnucz for helping us do that. Great segment with Jim. I knew we were walking down a path that was going to end up being something that he truly appreciated and cherished. So I'm glad you all helped share in that. And of course, Lawrence, who always helps, guide us through some of those more controversial topics. Again, at the end of the day, this is all for you guys. This is not for us. We want to teach as much, we want to share as much, and we want to provide as much information as we possibly can to our community, because it's our community that we truly appreciate and love. So thanks to all of you. You guys have yourselves a great week. Stay tuned to all the wonderful photo edits that are going to be coming for Trout Tuesday, of course, Walleye Wednesday, and then some power. The Power Hour will be here on Wednesday as well. Danny will be showing up. I'm hoping Mike Console will be here as well to talk about the Conquer All Challenge that is sponsored by Shimano. It's going to be really awesome for those who love their panfish and like targeting all kinds of smaller species of fish. There's a whole list of species that are available across Canada for all Canadian anglers. I've said enough. It's time to go. You guys have a great week. Love you all. All the best. Dave, take us away. Peace.
Well, as much as I hate to admit it, I guess we've run out of time. So I've enjoyed it, but I'm going to do something I haven't done since season 1. Turn out the lights, the party's over. They say that all good things must end.